Woof. Hey everyone. Welcome to the Hall Pass for Two Dogs Digs. This week on the Hall Pass, we're going to talk to you about what happens when things start getting slow for you. We're going to go through 10 tips that will help you hopefully give a little bit of a boost to those slow sales of yours. We got a special co-host with us, Lisa Boland, who's one of our Etsy experts. So let's get into it and see if we can help boost those slow sales. Yay, that's our new opening. We're just doing a little trick or a little tease to go, this is what we're talking about today. So it is all about eBay slow sales, but you know what? It's also about Etsy slow sales, and it's also about other kinds of slow sales. And so as opposed to just talking about Etsy, because some of us advertise on more than one platform and should advertise on more than one platform. Well, the best way to deal with something like that is to have somebody who knows a platform a little bit better than you. And that is Ms. Lisa Boland from Winnipeg. Lisa's coming on to talk with us. Yay! Thanks for joining us. I literally messaged Lisa about a half an hour ago that said, hey, I realize I'm not talking about Etsy and my sales aren't that fast there either. So I don't know.
Well, thanks for having me.
I don't know if it's a May thing or what. How are your sales doing right now, Lisa?
For May, I'm actually up about 4% or something over last year. So not great. But yeah, I think May is traditionally slow. Canadian taxes everybody's just finished doing their taxes and waiting for their refund. Not sure when Americans get their refunds. I think they've got them already, but.
Well, yeah, their taxes are actually May 15th is when they're due now.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, ours are going slow, and I immediately thought at the beginning of May, I was like so happy because May the 1st, the first thing that sold literally like at 11 o'clock in the morning was a $150 item, and I was like, woohoo! Nice. What a start to the month! And then like virtually nothing sold the rest of the week. And, and then
I had a good weekend.
Was, woohoo! Another $150 item. But in total, we ain't doing that hot. And I know some of the folks that are in the chat with us today, and some people will be watching us later as well, aren't necessarily having the greatest May. So I'm just going to say a big hello to everybody who's over here. Hello, Jason is here, and Brian discounted. Mr. Adrian Betts. Oh, it's his first time making it here in weeks. Heather. Carl from Ottawa, who's also locked down like us. And I know, Lisa, your guys just locked down again down to 10%. We've just heard like today that we might be locked down for another 2 weeks or so more. So we might not.
Our schools close tomorrow.
We might not be able to do a thrift or a garage sale till well into mid-June now. So Nellie, Claire's here. Hey, Dawn. Dawn's mother did a kick-ass sale last night. She lists beads. And her mother sold 96 items last night to some
97
to somebody who is a bead hoarder like her mom was. So her mom listed stuff and sold it so many things that they had trouble even getting the invoices out for everybody. But yeah, we're calm now. You're here, Don. That's what counts. And Diana, hello, Diana. Mr. Greg, Holly, Lisa. I think I said hi to Claire, but if I didn't, I finally got Claire. We owed Claire a t-shirt, and Rick, like, she asked, where's my t-shirt that I won? And I said to Rick, did you send the t-shirt? He goes, you were supposed to send the t-shirt. Well, that was 2 weeks ago. And then last night I said, did you send the t-shirt? And he said, I thought you were supposed to. So Claire is finally getting her winning t-shirt sent to her. Finally ordered it just now. Hello, Susan, as well. Mr. Kevin, haven't seen you in a little while. Yeah, I don't see anybody else. Our jewelry maven, Miss Becky Dick. Janet, hello. And man, Donna at Boogaloo. And Heather. I think I said hi to everybody. Oh, no, Carrie D, the very first one in. I missed saying hi to. So hi to everybody that's here, anybody that's joined us recently as well. Mr. Robert just got his first vaccine shot today, too. Oh, hey, Ann. Great timing. Her Macari sales stopped. 6 weeks, no sales, too. plus she was actually physically moving from house to house. Carl said his sales started strong and weak the last 5 days ago, and Angelique is here. And Jason's kicked ass until the last 24 hours. Well, that's still, at least it's 24 hours as opposed to us. I'll show you right now, our sales right now. All we've sold now, it's luckily we've sold like $750 worth of stuff, but we only have 20 sales and we're at the 11th of the month. Now, we average normally in the neighborhood of about 20, depending on the week, 25 to 45 sales. Last year during COVID in May, we actually were averaging 60 to 80 sales a week. So we had huge sales last year this time. So we've seen a real dive on our side of things. So I kind of thought too that it might have something to do with taxes and CERB payments in Canada, or the payments that are coming into the States. But it just seems that generally a number of people have slowed down, and maybe it is that last year was such an anomaly.
Could be.
Everybody
for me,
went nuts. That
I've been selling way more to Canada in the last 2 weeks than I have ever. Like, I mailed out 7 things yesterday, and I think 5 of them were to Canada, 1 to the States, and 1 to the UK, which never happens. Most of my stuff goes to the States.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things. So, like, what I thought we would do today is we pulled together like a what we consider a 10-point sort of trial on things you might think about doing over the course of the next little while to see if it can perk up your sales at all. We've tried a little bit on a couple of them, and we might even try and do 1 or 2 of them here if it doesn't take us too long to do. But it's one of those things that some of the stuff that we're going to recommend to you may cost you money. Some of the stuff is not going to cost you any money. It's just going to cost you a little bit of time. But if you're slow, it's probably the kind of thing you should take a look at and think about doing. So we've done this is to our, it's like our little title page that Mr. Good Dog built. Slow sales, try these 10 tips. So he built this beautiful little thing for us. And tip number 1 is changing your price. And I think it may sound a little strange, but I think first off, you should be looking at everything you've got in there and maybe see how old things are, how long they've been listed, and then maybe think about changing your prices. Now, I know, for example, on eBay, it's really easy that if you go into your listings pages and you go down to here, you see all these quick filters of things. But one of the best things that we like about this is you can click on here and find your start date. So you can actually look on here and see that you have an item that may have started. In this case, I had this Norcross Christmas vintage paper. It has been up for 2.5 years, December 2018, and I still haven't sold it. I have this Clean Flow jacket that's been up since December 2018. So that's one of the things that's initially, I think, a thing you should look at, even with whatever you've got listed on eBay or even on Etsy, is how much of the stuff have you got that's been sitting there a long, long time? And is there a reason for it to be sitting there? And here's the thing that I get a kick out. Look at this. This Clean Flow bomber jacket has had 1,400 views, and I still haven't sold it. And so there's something about it that just is not kicking people in. The fact that it happens to be for, I don't know, a retro vinyl jacket for a toilet cleaning company, maybe that's got something. Maybe people thought, oh, I'd love to get a Clean Flow jacket. And then they looked up Clean Flow and went, oh, it's a place that cleans toilets. Maybe I don't want to have that on my... But I just thought it was a funky jacket. Like, we probably paid $4.99 for this at a Value Village. I have tried this on, like, Poshmark. I've tried this on Depop. I've tried this on Facebook Marketplace. I got
Put it on Etsy.
Huh?
Put it on Etsy.
I don't think about clothing on Etsy, but maybe that's one of the things I'll try and do, is I maybe think about trying this on Etsy. And because it's Canadian as well, it may have a little more of a thought process for people who are looking at Canadian stuff. So, but that's the thing. The first thing I'm thinking is, look at what you've got on here. This is our Etsy store. If I go into our shop manager, we can go into our listings. And when we're looking at our listings here, I don't know if there's a way, let's see, we can, sort by, well, I guess it's not expiration soonest, because you can't really sort your order when you listed it, can you? When things renew, it doesn't show you that I put this up a year or two ago.
If you click on stats, the little slider at the top,
Yep.
it'll show you how many times you've renewed it.
Oh, perfect. I did not know that. So up here in the top corner, and so it tells me that I've had no renewals of this and 33 renewals of this first one.
That's because you've sold it 35 times, which is weird. So it should say 34 renewals, but I guess if somebody bought more than one.
A lot of mine have 0 renewals because there's one that Donald Duck that has 1 renewal that because I pulled a lot of the stuff off because I thought I'm not doing the right things with it on Etsy. So that's one of the things. And then again, when you're looking at that, both Etsy and eBay, look at how many visits you've had, how many people have favorited your item on Etsy. When you're looking at eBay, look and see how many views you've had to items, how many watchers you have to those items as well. And it starts giving you an idea as to, wait a second, like I've got 723 items up there. Well, how come I've only sold 20? It's like something's there. Now, people have to obviously look for what you've got to sell, but some things you have to just let things go. Susan's right. Not everything will sell. That's very true. Adrian thought Depop. I thought about Depop. I think it's on there. But Diana's saying, a lot of vintage jackets sell on Etsy. It could be for a Halloween costume. I just thought it was kind of funky. And I just saw here Charlene saying as well, she's had no sales for 3 weeks because it's nice to get those sales starting again. Everybody's telling me I should have been putting it on Etsy. So I guess that's one of the things that I'll do. So let's take a look though. Our first thing I said in the top 10 things that you should do is change your pricing. So take a look at anything that you've got. And what we do, and even if you're not necessarily on eBay tons, you now have the ability to use Terapeak to help you check prices. And I know, Lisa, as you said, prices on Etsy and eBay are not necessarily the same. You can charge different prices for the different markets. We actually just sold our second sale of the month was for a Suffering Bastard tiki mug.
Oh, nice.
We found and was in one of our little weekly hauls for like $7.99. We asked Jason about it, Mr. Tiki himself, who's in the chat right now, and he explained to us that, let me see the bottom of that. That's an original versus the remake of it. We looked at it on eBay, and it seemed to be something in the neighborhood of like 70 or 80 bucks on eBay, maybe 100. We popped it onto Etsy for 150, and it sold.
And it sold on Etsy?
Yeah. So we didn't even try it on eBay. We sold it. We didn't even try it. In fact, some of the things that you see on our Etsy store, we haven't tried any of these necessarily yet on eBay. We're trying them specifically on Etsy to try a new way of looking at things. So we're looking at our Etsy store in the past month and a half a lot differently. We're looking at it for more of our newer stuff, like our like funkier vintage toys, our stuff and we've actually sold a lot of our little kittles on there. We've had 31 visits and 3 favorites to the Upsy Downsy. So we're taking even a look at our store itself and going, maybe there's a way we should be rethinking our stores and what our stock is in those stores. Do you use Terapeak at all when you're doing checking on pricing, or do you you use eBay to check?
I don't have access to Terapeak, I don't think.
Do you have? Well, you've listed something on eBay now.
I do have a listing. Yes, I'll have to check it out now that it's not just for people with a store.
Now it's not for people just with stores. Yeah. So now anybody who is listing on eBay has the ability, as best I know, to check on it.
I use WorthPoint.
Okay. So, WorthPoint is actually a very good place to look at as well. It uses eBay and a few other places.
And I use Flipper Tools for Etsy solds. So.
Is that working again? Every time I try to do it, it seems to be not working.
No, they fixed whatever was wrong with it a month or so ago. I used it yesterday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it's like one of those. It's one of those things that every once in a while you just hit a time period where something has gone a little screwy with the way they're using the Flipper tool. So I say number one, check your price. Check it on Terapeak. Check it on WorthPoint. Take a look and see if it's actually competitive now. There's lots of reasons things can change in that. It could be a market that's gone way down, and it's like we watch one of our favorite things right now. I don't know if you watch it, Lisa. Is do you ever watch the Antiques Roadshow? Does anybody in the chat watch the Antiques Roadshow?
Once in a while.
So we have it on like multiple things where it's taping. So we have the US multiple taping us on things. I think right now we have 46 episodes that we can watch. Like anytime it comes on any channel, we've taped it. It's on Amazon Prime as part of BBC BritBox. So we have this everywhere. And probably twice a week we watch an Antiques Roadshow. And one of my favorite things to do is Rick and I have a game when we're watching Antiques Roadshow. And it's when they do that, what's happened since? And it'll be like a revisit to Florida from 2010. And they show all the objects with the, and then they go, has it gone up or down? It's like that, or and that's one of the things that we love watching because it's just interesting to try and guess, like, okay, what's happening with, and you see things that you think, oh, that's got to have gone up, and then their estimate, even though they're not necessarily 100% accurate. But you see something that was like $20,000, and Rick and I are both, oh, no, 20, no, 25, and then $5,000. Like, oh my God, I didn't realize how much Rococo furniture has fallen out of the wayside. So Heather says she does that. Marianne watches it. Lane, whose first Mac sold, closes tomorrow night in Grand Bend, just north of where she lives. In Ontario, just a little bit of a drive from London, Ontario. Angelique records them and binges them. I always think they're fine. And Susan's like, I always try to guess the value before he just goes, yeah, we have that game that happens with us as well. But it's one of the things that when you look at the stuff you've got listed, it could have been worth something a year ago when you listed it, and there could have been a glut of them on the market. There could be just, it's not got buzzworthiness anymore. I mean, especially with CDs and things like that, I'm sure, like, or even Dr. Seuss books. That's a perfect example. What happened to Dr. Seuss books in January was not what happened when those 5 or 6 books, those 6 books disappeared. But those books have even gone depressed down. I've seen them locally on a Facebook post for like $150 right now. And they were $600 for like a week. So check your prices. You might not have the right price. Or it might be time to do a little bit of a change. Hey, Sherry, don't worry.
Sometimes I increase my prices.
Well, that one's going to be a good idea. I'm just saying, hey, Holly, it's Holly's mom's favorite show. It's just if I'm not selling, I'm not increasing a lot of prices necessarily.
Yeah, I just go up like $1. So
let's look at, so changing your price could be low, could be higher. Here's something I know Lisa doesn't do, but we have to take a look at. And again, whenever you're looking at these things, it's always up to each person on how they run their business and what works the best for each person. So we've looked at this and said, you may consider, it's not this is, you have to do all 10 of these things. Consider adding free shipping or adding free returns. Now, on eBay, the free returns is when you're building a listing, you can put in a thing that says who pays for a return, the buyer or the seller. And the main thought about that, and a lot of people talk about it this way, is that if you at least put in that it's a free return, the option is there, and it might boost the mindset of a buyer. Oh, at least they offer free returns. We barely have any returns. We have like less than 2% returns. So putting free returns versus buyer pays for returns might be that extra little kick that makes somebody swing over. So that's the reason we consider adding in free returns. And pretty well every one of our listings now says free returns on eBay. Adding free shipping in, well, it's never free shipping for anybody, but there are times when you may end up deciding that if you cover the cost of free shipping, it sounds like you're Amazon. And that's exactly what we did with that tiki mug. We listed that tiki mug with free shipping. So we added the $10 extra that it was going to cost us to ship into the price itself. So just a couple of ways to think about it. And as well, if you're on Etsy search is if it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way that Etsy sort of rejigged things a little bit over a year ago, if you're advertising on them for something and it's $35 or higher, and you list it as having free shipping, they push it a little higher up in the search results. That's what I've supposedly.
I don't know if they're still doing that as much. I've heard sort of, around and about that they're not doing it as much, but who knows? I think with more the handmade people, it would make more sense to do the free shipping because the market is so huge. I just do vintage or sewing patterns. So there's far less competition.
Yeah.
If somebody's looking for a specific vintage item, there might only be 3 of them on Etsy.
Yep.
Versus, dangly chandelier earrings where they're going to come up literally with 2 million.
Yeah, well, even that comparison, like the Etsy to eBay, because the numbers, whenever we look at them, like if you look up vintage Monopoly games, you may find 2 million of them sitting on eBay, but you'll only find 110,000 of them sitting on Etsy. So it's, again, you're a smaller market, a different consumer. So
yes.
Again, that's where you can sit there and say, well, if there's less people there, then do charge. And again, it all depends on if it works better for you or it doesn't. And I'm just going to take a quick look to see what I've done in our store, for example, on a couple of these, because they were higher priced items. On things that were lower priced, most of the things I put in here are like this Action Jackson outfit that I've got in here. I've gone down here and I actually have in there $78.88 is my price, and I have free US shipping. I charge for Canada, but I have free US shipping. And part of the reason that I did that was to try and hopefully boost myself in the listings of how it's actually going to look. But something like this Darkwing Duck, I'm charging shipping on the little Darkwing Duck thing because it's much smaller, and I don't want to inflate the price too high as well. So that's the other concern, is you don't want to inflate the price so that's a $9 item that everybody's looking at and go, well, no, it's $30 with free shipping, and everyone else is going, wait a minute, why would I pay $30 with shipping when it's only $7 shipping if I buy it from Lisa? Like, I'd rather pay. And that's the strange thing. We've done that before with stuff where we've tried it and listed. We've talked before about a Christmas ornament we listed for $14.99 with free shipping. So it was $5 shipping. So it was $9, $10. So $14.99 with free shipping, and we sold a couple. And then we listed it for $12.88 with $7 shipping, and we started selling way more. And I was like, do you people not read? Like, you could have got it for $5 less if you bought it.
They can't do math.
No, it was like, wait, I would rather pay $12.88. And again, it just depends on the consumer. With the stuff that we've got at a lower price, we probably charge shipping on most of it, unless it's like a patch or something like that. Like, I've sold this Tim Hortons gift card back before Christmas. It's a blank gift card, but it was Barbie dolls on it. I grabbed them for free at a Tim Hortons. Well, I sold them for $5.
Nice.
But I just threw it in it like free. Like, I don't want someone to have to pay more. They're already going to pay their local tax, but I could just throw it in an envelope and put like $1 stamp on it and go, wow, I grabbed 20 of them for free. I'm making $3 on each one, and I don't have anything to do with them. So that was, but normally lower priced items, no, you don't do free shipping on those. But it's something to consider, is free shipping or free return. What else can you consider? Adding a best offer in. Now, you can't really do this on Etsy, but you can do it on eBay. So we're going to talk on eBay on that side of things. So again, let's go back and look at those listings that we have in here. And one of the things that you're able to do is in this section, you can actually see that I've got best offer eligible. 456 items I have not added a best offer to. So that's the nice way to do that sort. And you can say, okay, wait a second, I'm going to go look at these now. When you go to sort those things, again, you can sort those and start looking at them by age. So I can see that in this case, my oldest thing in here, these Mr. Christmas skaters, I have not got a best offer on yet. I've had it at $14.99, and all you have to do is so simple in that. All I have to do is just click on this, and I can add the best offer. Automatically accept an offer of, well, let's say I'm going to say $11. And I'm going to automatically decline offers lower than $8. And all I have to do is add the best offer to that, and boom, it's done. Now, some people, when they add offers to things and you're in eBay, some people prefer to just add and say, give me any offer you want in the world. I know Jason actually is a big proponent of that, and his group. I'm not necessarily as big of a proponent of send me any offer. I don't want $1 offer on a $150 thing. Now, some people don't mind the back and forth to be able to. That's why I always say everybody does work the way that's best for them. But I don't want to waste what I consider wasting my time on. If I got a $50 item and someone sends me an offer of $4, I don't even want to see it.
Yeah.
I don't mind if they're going to send me an offer of $20 or $25, but there's that level that I just personally got too many offers that were $1 that I thought were jokes, and when I countered, they came back at $1.50. It's like, no, you're not even serious about buying this thing. So for me,
I get that on Posh. So
yeah, for me, it was like, I decided I don't want to deal with that kind of stuff anymore. So I set an offer level that says, if you're not here, and you can set a message with it so that it actually says, thank you very much, so that this doesn't reach the offer. So now Sherry says she has accept offers on everything. But I'm wondering, Sherry, is it when you have those, do you actually get crappy offers? Like Jason says, he rarely gets crappy offers. Brian does not set limits. He likes to counter. Carl says he pay full price or go away. That's really good, but
Carl's my kind of guy.
Yeah, I'd be like that too, Carl. If it was not for only selling 20 items instead of my normal 100, then it's like Heather says it's a game that people really like to play. Becky, who's got 4,300 pieces of jewelry, always sets a reject offer below XYZ amount, which is usually 35% or so below my ask price. So Becky, you and I are in the exact same world in that we set ours at 50%. So anything I'm setting up is gonna, if it's a $50 item, I don't want to see someone coming in at less than $25. And if somebody manages to break in there, that's the reason that I do it, is if somebody breaks in and sends me an offer of $25 and I had it at 50, my immediate comeback to almost every single offer is, how about we split it down the middle and I take $37.50. And I tell you, I probably say 80% of the time those offers sell. So whatever they come in at over my 50%, I go halfway between my offer and theirs, and I say, how about this? And I rarely get people saying, no, how dare you? Here's $1 more. Rick's looking at me like,
oh, no, my kitty cat.
Rick had a kitty cat.
I did not counter because I thought that I was getting twice what I should.
Oh yeah, so he had a kitty cat he put up, and he didn't counter on the offers because he thought he was getting twice as much as he should have, and he sold it for full price. So you don't always have to accept it. So he pulled a Carl. We'll call it pulling a Carl, which is getting saying no, I don't have anything like that. Dawn says I have best offer on everything, but don't have a ton of listings, so it doesn't matter if she manually has to decline. But Sherry was saying once in a while she has a bad one, but I usually only counter with 25 cents below my list. You're just, I like that. Sherry's like, oh no, you didn't. You're Anne says that I don't set a dollar value on offers. I find serious, want to get a decent counter, and I will accept. I do get many low ones, but not super low. Okay, I have an item listed for $15. The same guys offered me $8 3 times, despite your counter offer of $12.50. Well, again, that's the other thing, is keep in mind if you have done counter offers that you actually know what you like. Look back at your history and make sure you don't counter lower than the guy if he's come back again at you and again and again. That's our new expression now. Pulling a Carl. So Rick says that is persistence to do that. So that's, again, take a look at adding best offers in. That's item number 2 or 3. That's 3, adding best offers. Let's go to item number 4, which is sending out offers. Now, there's multiple platforms that I think you have the ability to do this on. I mean, one of them is eBay, where you can actually go, I'll start with that. We can go back to that same page where I'm showing everybody, here is all of my items, all 723 items that I've got. And if we go along the side there, you can see promoted listings, and right at the top there, send offers eligible. So right now I have 17 items that I can send an offer out on. So all of these items that are in here, I can take a look at all of them, and I don't send offers out on something like this that might be only a $7 item. Like, that's too low for me to send an offer out. I'm only going to save somebody $1. If they can't afford the $7.50, never mind. But on this $14.50 honeycomb tree, I know I got like 20 of them. And I know I've sold a few of them. So here's the interesting thing, and it's also something new that eBay started just a couple of months ago. If I click send offers out on that, I can do it one of two ways. I can say an amount. So, okay, I'm going to make it $11 to make it a nice even $15. You can see the amount summarized over here. I can say I don't want to offer an amount. I want to offer a percentage, and I'm going to say 25%. And you can go over here, and you can, again, see the amount that it turns into. I can leave this at, here's a chance to get your item at a great price. But here's the neat thing you can do now. You can allow a counter offer. So I can say if they want to come back down, great. But here's my other favorite, automatically send offers. If I set that up, anytime eBay thinks that this is somebody who's they've decided is an offerable person, they will get that $11.88 offer. I don't have to think about it again. I just set it and forget it. Now, nice. It is nice instead of having to go through all the time. And I've already said this is what I want to really like get for that item. So the thing to remember is if you're thinking about eBay, how people get the offers. And I know a lot of people say, well, there's a bunch of people who are just watching an item who are other sellers and they're just trying to see if it sells. And it's like, that is true. We do it. Lisa probably does it. But there are also people who are watching the item because they're interested in the item. But it's also we don't know the algorithm on how eBay's Cassini calculates all this stuff. But there's three that they pick people to get offers. One is from watchers, people who've watched your item. Two, which they only added these two a year ago, is people who abandon their cart. So that's somebody who doesn't know how to watch an item, but they went, I like this, and put it in their cart and then left. And we'll talk about how Etsy handles that because they've got a much better way of doing it. But so there's that. And the third way is what they've called heavy browsing. So if they recognize that buyer or that person's come in a lot and looked at this item a lot or those type of items a lot over a very short period of time. So maybe it's Mother's Day and they're searching for like a charm bracelet and they've looked at this charm 3 or 4 times. They can tell most sellers aren't going to look at an item 3 or 4 times. They're going to sell it, put it on their watch list. But if a buyer keeps looking at this thing, again, eBay's algorithm goes, wait a second, that's a person who may be interested in it too. So those are the 3 ways that you could get people on your send an offer to list. Watchers, heavy browsers, and people who abandon their cart. Now, Etsy has a different way to approach because you could actually talk to people who abandoned their cart, can't you? Sort of.
Well, you can send them a coupon.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah, you don't have any way of knowing who abandoned their cart, but they also have to be signed up for Etsy's marketing emails, which apparently is a very small percentage. They also have a recently favorited coupon. So I have both of those set up, and
that's another one I've seen too.
The uptake on that is so minimal. I think I've had probably 5 people use the recently favorited in the last year, if that.
Okay, I did find the thing I was thinking about, Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
In Etsy, under marketing, abandoned cart.
Yep.
Send people who've left their cart. So
yeah, that's what I have, but it's a coupon.
Oh, it's a coupon. But it's called it's calling it an abandoned cart coupon. So you can manage your campaign. And then there's the other one you talked about, recently favorited.
Yeah.
So I have that recently favorited saying that 10% off to people who favored something. Yes, Doug.
Hi, Doug. So yeah, people have to
post-purchase thank you in, but I probably should learn at doing that.
Yeah, they have to opt in to getting the emails or they'll never ever see that. So
Oh, okay. But it's a nice way to think about. There's people who are shopping for your stuff, and maybe there's ways that you can get them that you hadn't really thought about. So Diana's saying, yeah, those coupons rarely ever get used. Brenda has never seen anyone use a coupon. Charlene has said, I've had buyers send an offer and counter and then get silence. Yeah, that's true. It can happen. Susan says, great info. Thank you. No problem. That's what we're here for. Carl says, if we want someone to buy something, I try and get someone to send me a deal by adding it. Oh, so if he wants to buy something, he puts it in his cart and leaves.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to do that, or add it to favorites. I find people favorite stuff, and then a couple of hours later, they just buy it. So I'm assuming
I've been thinking about listing a few times. I've actually gone to Etsy to see that there's only, and I pull up my search on Etsy and I see 2 or 3 items and I see in a cart, limited availability. And I actually go, I'm now going to list this because it's already in someone else's cart. So when that goes, I might be the only one left there. So it's a different way for me to think.
I like that feature that it's, only one available and it's in 3 people's carts. But quite often, I think it's a lot of sellers that are putting things in their cart instead of favoriting it, because they don't want the seller to know that they've favorited it.
Okay.
So, like I've heard that from other sellers that they just throw it in their cart because then it'll still be there. They can go back and look at it, but the seller doesn't know who's looking at it. Whereas if you click favorite, then it's like, oh, Bitchin' Kitchen favorited my item. Why? Okay.
No, I never thought about that. Yeah. And again, that's where your experience on Etsy comes in for people like me who are so light on Etsy versus the eBay side of things. Donna says that she doesn't like having best offers, but she does lower prices to watchers. So when she lowers a price, which I'm saying at the beginning of changing your price, it will show to people who are already watchers that it's done. Holly has sat for 2 months on the listing as a buyer, seller reduced it and bought it. So it does work when you may be looking at that sort of thing. So
I've got a couple of things on eBay where I've gotten an offer.
And then Angelique, I'm looking to buy 99% of the time. I'll put it on my watch list and wait for an offer from several sellers. So sending an offer, good thing to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Promoted listings. Now, there are promoted listings on both eBay and on Etsy. So on the eBay side of things, we'll take a look there again, and I'll show you that sheet. There's that thing, and right there, it tells you out of all of my 700, I have 244 listings that are promoted listings eligible. So I have not promoted any of those 244. But just so you know, I am promoting my listings on 477 of my items. So 2/3 of my shop I have promoted listings on. And I think I'm going to try and do a little video for the channel that's just sort of revisiting where you see promoted listings. Because again, a lot of people think that all it's doing is putting it in one place, and it puts your listing in multiple places when people are shopping. And one of the big things for me is someone's looking at something else of mine. There's a line on the bottom there when I do promoted listings. There are all these other things available by this seller. And it may not have anything to do with what they're buying, but it may show them other things of mine, and it may get them thinking, oh, I might favor that shop or any of those sort of things. So we do promoted listings anywhere from 1% to 10% in some cases. But again, what we do with all of those is we cover that in the price. So we always know we're covering that in our pricing when we're setting it all up. When I go in to launch something, I don't do promoted listings right away. I wait a little while. Now, on Etsy, their promoted listings is that new thingy.
They have 2. They have the off-site ads, and then they have their regular Etsy ads.
So the Etsy ads are. Here we go. Sorry, I realized I wasn't on the page when I was showing. So in marketing, there's Etsy ads, and on the Etsy ads, I have not got anything on there right now.
No, I don't either.
You can actually pick your items that you want it to try and push, right?
Yeah, it just pops them up. I actually find them annoying as a buyer or as a browser.
They are so annoying
as a buyer. Weirdest places. You can search vintage Pyrex and you'll see stuff that, brand new wine glass with a pretty, decal on it. And it's like, it's got nothing to do with what you're searching for.
Yeah. Now, in this case, all of these top ones here, you'll notice it's ad. So the very first line of everything up here is an advertisement. So somebody is paying Etsy for those versus this next batch, which just happened to be how they've come up.
What did you search for? Vintage Pyrex?
Yeah.
Okay, because that second one on the top is not Pyrex.
Yeah. So that's what you're saying. It's like I searched for vintage Pyrex and I've got an atomic starburst and a floral teacup set.
Those are Corel. And that green thing, God only knows what that is. That's definitely not Pyrex.
Yeah, so that's where, as you said, it can be irritating from a buyer's perspective because it's just like when I was looking for something, I kept seeing all this stuff. It seemed like it was almost every other line as well, which was bugging me because I was like, I want to search by things from the lowest to the highest price. And the first thing that shows up is a line of $480. I go, that's the low. Oh, no, that's a sponsored ad. It's like, but yeah, so in this case, those first line of things on Etsy, all of those that are up here are all ads, not even vintage Pyrex. Then we go here and you'll see these don't have the word ad. So it's right here, a little thing underneath there. It says ad buy. So, and this is just Antiques by Nostalgia. And so they have that in here and along the line. So then they've got the next one down is regular things. Next one down is regular things. Next line down, ad. So yes, there's the vintage Pyrex Arthur Court Lion Mode. That's not Pyrex.
It does have a Pyrex insert.
Oh, does it?
Yes, but that whole row actually is Pyrex, I think. But Corel.
Yeah.
Corel isn't Pyrex. It's sister company, but there's all kinds of not Pyrex in there.
Yeah, Procter Silex. Yeah. Anchor Hawking. No.
Nope.
So again, that's just another way to take a look at those and find a way to promote your listing. The second way is not the Etsy ads, which you're picking are promoting yourself. The other way is Etsy sending the ads out the same way that eBay does, so that if someone goes into Google and they happen to be looking in Google for a Pyrex Daisy Cinderella bowl, and they go to shopping, the first thing they see there is I forgot to.
You don't even need to go to shopping.
So
if you just click on all,
you can click on all, but I also it pops it over to the side here. So there's an eBay listing, there's an Etsy listing, and there's a Poshmark listing. Yeah. So all three of those are ads that are being pushed out. That's Etsy pushing it out for their, I believe it. What is it? 12%.
It's 12 if you make over 10,000 in a year. Otherwise, it's 15%.
Otherwise, 15%. So yeah. So unfortunately, if you happen to be a long timer like Lisa is, she's already hit, I think, the mark where you're stuck. You got to pay that 12% if someone finds you that way. I'm
locked in, but I don't mind. I've actually sold quite a bit since they introduced it. It's been just over a year?
Yeah.
I think it was March last year that they started it. It was free for the first couple of months, just when they rolled it out. But so I think it's been charged for probably exactly a year now for me. And it's brought me quite a few sales that I probably wouldn't have had otherwise. So I don't mind it at all.
I just
built it into my price.
Because I'm still under the $10,000 in sales on Etsy, so I picked it and do put it on some of the stuff, and we have, and I've showed them in some of our past, like what we sold this month. Back last fall, we sold a pattern book that I bought for $5 at a Value Village that I priced at $125, and it was bought by a guest on Etsy. Yep. So I know how many ads are coming from offsite sales on Etsy, and I also know how many people are guests, which to me is somebody who is not in their head. They're not going, I'm going to look at Etsy, or I'm going to look at eBay, or I'm going to look at Poshmark. The whole reason they're finding something is they went in going like this, oh, there's the thing I want to get, and then they're clicking through to that, and they're going to Poshmark, and they're buying it from Poshmark. So paying that little bit extra could be worth the money for you when you're trying to analyze is there another way I can sort of push for some extra sales? And again, just make sure you're thinking about that and covering it whichever way you possibly can. I'm going to see Jenny said she quit promoting items on eBay. Red, where it is a waste of money because of ad blockers. Although that is possible. We do have sales that are showing up. And one of the things that we do look at on promoted listings is how many impressions some of our items are getting. So we do sell stuff that is on promoted listings, and we sell it regularly. So we don't necessarily, just because it's in promoted listings either. Some people think if you're promoting a listing on eBay, that's the only way they're going to sell it. You're only going to be selling it to the people who pay that extra money, and that's bull. That's complete crap. Because we sell we have 2/3 of our things that are sitting there on promoted listings, and probably only 20% of those sell through promoted listings. The other 80% of them are selling the regular way. So I'm not getting charged or gouged or anything along those lines. Carrie says a lot of her Etsy sales come from offsite ads. Angelique is like, it's like searching Facebook Marketplace, searched a Prius and got everything else under the Prius. Carl says, I don't use Etsy a lot, so I never notice those ads would annoy me. Don't show me stuff I didn't search for, especially not making it. I think everybody's so obvious and trying to make money now. It's like Facebook, all those things. You're scrolling through your news feed, and it's like news ad. Like, and I can't really complain about it because our Max Sold is happening on Thursday night, and I built an ad, and I'm showing it in people's feeds.
And I think a lot of the Etsy ads, it's the seller that's putting keywords in as tags, like, oh, this is made of glass, I'm putting Pyrex. Like, I don't think that Etsy's just randomly putting crap in there that you're not looking for. Like, I think that those sellers have it in their keyword, in their tags.
Somewhere in those keywords, yeah.
Yeah.
Number 6. It's an easy one. End your old item and just redo it. Now, I don't know if it has the same sort of algorithms theoretically on Etsy as it does with eBay, but one of the things people say on eBay all the time is if you end your item and you just relaunch it again as a sell similar, it picks it up as a new listing, and it can do a few things for that, and you may end up attracting new people. You will lose all of your links if you have links to it on Pinterest or Instagram or anything of those things. You'll lose those links because it'll have a new code behind it. You will lose all your watchers and all of that. So that's not important, but I showed you that one thing, that clean flow jacket that had 1,400 or 1,700 people watching it and nobody buying it. For me to end it and redo it, I don't care about the 1,700 people. If I get new people, if they come back again and people are typing in clean flow and they see a new listing, maybe that'll grab their attention. So I will probably tonight end that listing and sell it similar and see if I can get something, even if I change the price. I'll do a few things to it to try and jack it up a little bit in people's minds. So
on Etsy, I just renew. Sorry?
Is Etsy kind of the same way? Is it like if you end something?
I don't really ever end things on Etsy. Like if something expires, I might not renew it. You've got 4 months.
Yeah.
And if I've renewed something for 5 or 6 years and it hasn't sold, sometimes I think, okay, I'm done. Then I pull it and throw it in my antique booth, or I try it on Facebook Marketplace. But definitely renewing your item. Some people I know in the crafting world especially do pay the extra 20 cents to renew it before it expires. Because when you renew it, it goes up as a new listing. So you're right back up at the top of people searching newest items. I generally just renew my things the day that they expire. And it helps, because quite often I sell stuff the day that I've renewed it.
So if you renewed it, Lisa, will it show up here in an update for you?
Yes.
So
as far as I know.
Here is some of the things that Lisa just listed right here. Her Bitchin' Kitchen shop has new items. So if you let that rabbit end after it's 4 months, and then you went a month later, I'm going to put it back, it'll pop in as a new listing for you.
It should, yes.
It should. Okay. So no, again, it's just another way to think about, is there something that you can do to it that maybe refreshes what you've got in your shop? Maybe you just want to end some things and wait a week and push them back up again.
At least with Etsy as well, if you're just renewing it, I don't know what happens. I would assume once it's expired and you renew it, it keeps all the old info, but definitely if it hasn't expired yet and you renew it, it still keeps everybody that's favorited it, put it in their cart. All your pins on Pinterest, they're all still live.
Okay. And you could do that in one of two ways. You can either set it up so that it's non-expiring, right?
Yeah, they do have an auto renew now. So, yeah, it just every 4 months.
Judy says, if you load a new picture, it renews things. And Dawn is saying there is a debate about deleting and relisting versus just tweaking. No, I understand. No one knows how eBay's algorithms actually work. So if anybody tells you this is how they work, they're lying. It can be something that people have tried. And again, I've tried it and it's worked on this, but not worked on this. If it worked on everything, I would not have a single item available in my store because all 700 items would have sold. And so I should have 0 listings because everything I write would sell right off the bat. Becky is saying she ends 200 listings daily. Why? She wants her items to come up newly listed in search. So there you go. And she's got 4,000 plus jewelry items. Heather says, go around touching items and then it will sell. No, you have to touch
you have to do it.
Mistake.
Yeah.
You can't purposely touch the item. You can't touch Bob and then say Bob will sell. You must actually move Bob out of the way and then you will go on to something else and then Bob will sell. So
that's how it works, yeah.
You can't purposely do it. Carl thinks ending and relisting would hit everyone's saved searches again. Too lazy to do that. Let's pull a Carl. Louis says yes, and Heather says, yeah. So that was number... Adrian's telling me to sell the jacket with a plunger.
And some rubber gloves.
Jenny says, is it true you have to wait a few days before relisting an item? Nope. No, not at all. In fact, if I go back to here right now, I will show you that thing where I said, let me just find it so I can go in here. I will actually take this Mark's item right this second. I will end the item. End the listing early. Yep, I'm going to end this listing early. I'm going to go straight to my ended items right here. And the first item that should show up on my ended items, why look, it's my Mark's Fireman. And I'm going to sell a similar one. And within seconds after here, I could just turn it around. I'm going to take off the 4. It is not my lot number 2 anymore because I had multiples of this. So I'm going to take this whole thing, leave everything else that I've got in here. You don't have to see all the little blah, 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 blah. This is as lot number 2, so I'm not going to have lot number 2 in there anymore. Fixed price, and since it didn't sell, I'm going to try and pop the price to $12.88. I'm going to let buyers make an offer right off the bat. I'm going to, and here's the tear peak thing as well, it's telling me that it's selling for about $9. So I'm going to decline offers lower than $8.88. And boom. I have a promoted listing on this. Since I'm a new listing again, I'm gonna just take it off and list it and submit the listing. Bob's your uncle. There it is. Your item is for sale. So it's up listed right now. So you can list something, you can end it and list it within seconds after you have to do something. Bob's a lot to move. Yeah, it's hard. He has to so many pool noodles to to wrap around Bob. So we go on to, we got promoted listings. We have got ending old items and selling similar. So let's go to 7, checking your item specifics. And this is kind of a dual place. On the eBay side of things, you just want to go and take a look at anything that you have listed in there and any item that you do have listed. I'm going to pop this down into that search thing again, and you'll see in here there's a section called item specifics. So it's telling me on this one item, which happens to be some 6XL prison briefs. Okay, so yes. Well, this was part of my challenge for the Kennel Club. Remember, I had to do something every day in the Kennel Club, our Facebook group, For those of the people over here, you'll see little icons by their name. They're members of our Facebook group, the Kennel Club, and here on our YouTube channel, where we have exclusive videos and things like that for them. Well, we have a daily challenge for May, and one of the things for May was to try and do something. I can't even remember what the challenge was now because we had to write 31 of them. And I thought, okay, we have this underwear. We bought about 100 pairs of these at a Goodwill for, I think it was 75 cents a piece. And they were made in an upstate New York prison. And they were size 5X, 6X, and 7X. And so they are gigantic vintage Y-front briefs. And we sell Y-front briefs all the time, Fruit of the Loom and all that stuff. And I actually found one of these briefs that sold just before I listed mine for $25. So wow. I went and listed my 6XLs. But one of the things that you can tell on there as you go over is there are item specifics it's asking you to add into. So on this side, it's telling me what I should add into the page, things I should think about. It's a little giant for you right now, so I won't take you there. But on Etsy, it could be the same way. You could think about those item specifics as being, have you looked at your tags that you've got on your items lately? Like, what tags have you done for you lately? That's my only singing for the whole night. It's my Janet. Thank you, Janet. If you pop onto my own shop, I saw some of the things that were in my shop here, and in this Darkwing Duck one that I was talking about, I can go down here and go, well, let's see. I still have 5 tags left. So I know, but I was struggling, and this is the thing is, I struggle like crazy for tags when I'm working on Etsy. So it was like toys, vintage toys, Darkwing Duck, Disney, cartoon toy, Darkwing, Disney cartoon, Disney. I didn't know.
Vintage Disney.
Okay.
Vintage Disney.
So spell it right.
There you go.
Yes.
What era is that? 80s?
I believe so. 1992.
Okay, then put 90s Disney or...
and again, I just look at these things thinking, well, if I've got Darkwing Duck in my title, I don't know if I'm even right putting Darkwing Duck in a tag, because if somebody's searching Darkwing Duck, they'll probably find it, I think. But
I don't know.
People used to call Dawn Darkwing Duck.
And that's another thing. You put it Darkwing Duck, 3 words instead of 2.
For those who can't spell.
Yeah. Well, some people might not know. Like, I wouldn't have a clue. I don't know what Darkwing Duck is.
So, actually, yeah, Lisa Wallace said add 90s cartoons.
Yeah.
And Heather said, oh, no, that's a different item. That's prison panties for big boys is not about this specific thing.
So were those made by prisoners, or they're for prisoners?
My understanding is they were actually made in the prison.
Oh, okay.
Sell, but also,
license plates and panties.
But they were also for the prisoners. But then there would be a lot of 7X prisoners. Like those are big boys. Like really big boys. Like 5X. That's like it's like I'm a big boy, but that's yeah. It's like I think Michael. Hey, Michael. Tidy Whitey sell. Yes, they do. Janet was saying, "Yep, prison undies." Rick put his own. Yes, those are some giant budgie smugglers. And no, they were not, as Rick said, they were not used. Yes, prison underwear. And we didn't know that they were prison underwear, Sarah, when we picked them up. It's just they had this little like made by thing in it, and we looked it up, and it was like Rick did not want me to buy them, and there was this one bin, and it was the end of our weekend on a Sunday, and I said, we're going into that store. It was like, no, it was a Saturday because it's a church store. It was a church store. And then we said, we're going to buy everything. It was 6 o'clock at night, and I went at 5:45. I said, I dumped all of the underwear. And we went up to the front, and the lady behind the counter was singing some song with the gospel music, and then she just kind of looked at me, looked at the pile of underwear, and went, oh, honey, how many pairs you got? I'm not counting.
I'm not touching those. Yeah. Paul's got a good point here. He says Darkwing Duck is also on the new DuckTales. So put new DuckTales as one of your tags.
There we go. So again, that's a I spelled DuckTales wrong. It's like new DuckTales, not
TALES.
Yeah. And actually, now that you've said that, I didn't even put DuckTales in there anywhere either. So again, that's one of the things. Take a look at these things. Paul even says, say, like, let's get dangerous, things like that. So those are things that I didn't think about. Maybe that's why it hasn't sold. And $15 shipping for those Marks toys. Is that what I had it at? I'll have to take a closer look at that, Carl, if that's what I put it at. Maybe that's why they haven't sold. And yes, 7XL underwear does make a good duster. So let's get on to
underwear built for two. Yeah.
Check. We're at the hour, so I don't want to go too much over it, but we'll keep going. Number 8, check your photos and titles. So again, take a look at those things. We actually looked at some of the items we've had listed before, and we so this is like, how do you have any wine left?
My husband poured, so
we've looked at things when we were doing these and gone, oh, this looks really great, and then re-looked at it and went, holy crap, that picture is awful. That's out of focus. Our first photo is not the one that people should be looking at as our key photo on Etsy or eBay. It's like, how did we end up that as our little our thumbnail picture? It's like so many things like that to think about. It's like, just take a look at that and say, maybe I should relook at my title. Maybe I need to rejig my title. That's the easiest way for you to try and maybe check something up. And that's kind of in the same world as adding in text, is like, maybe just do a little quick look and see your 10 oldest items. If like I had to give anybody who's watching here, we got 44 people. Thanks so much. If you give us a thumbs up, it would be really cool. If we've learned anything today, or you've thought about something, or you've had a little bit of fun with us tonight, is give us a thumbs up. But I'd like everyone, if you can, to try and find 5 items, your 5 oldest items on what you think is on Etsy, because you can see how many times they've been relisted, or on eBay, and go, why are these 5 items still there? And let's see if we can try and sell those 5 items just beyond having them still in your stock and not putting them at your antique booth. Just get rid of the items, because it's like, why is this still sitting here? I'm going to do it with that clean flow jacket, and I might just find a plunger. You never can tell.
With Etsy, I've got a bunch that are so old they still only have 5 photos, because back in the day you could only have 5 photos. Now it's 10. So those ones, most of them I've let them expire, and I'm slowly going through and retaking new photos, 10 of them, and tweaking them and relisting them. So hopefully some of those will go. Way to go, Brian.
Yeah. Very nice. And yeah, we're hoping it's a good idea. Anything we come up with, hope it's a good idea, although Rick also tells us it's not. But yeah, take a look at 5 items and see if you can redo those 5 items. And I'll put that challenge into, maybe I'll turn one of the challenges this week of May into the find your 5 oldest items and try and relist them, even though it's only supposed to be a single one a day thing. We just sort of touched on this one as well, which is relist your ended items. So on both eBay, if you have had items, and one of the things I forget all the time, I'm terrible with, is that we do auctions all the time on our items. And when the auction ends, I forget to relist it as a fixed price.
Oh.
So I actually went in the other day. I did this. I've done this a couple of times. But one time I did it, and there were 48 items that I had auctioned for that I forgot to relist. The ones that I just relisted actually 2 days ago had only ended a week ago. So I don't mind that 1 week period, but I had some that were sitting there for 2.5 months going, why haven't we sold? What? Where is it?
Because it's not listed. Yeah.
Yeah. I was searching my own thing going, why did this not sell? It should have sold on auction. It should have sold in the past 2 months. Okay. It helps if you list it. That really, really helps to sell it.
Yeah.
And our final one, and this is kind of a combination of both, is to look at adding a new platform. And that might be a platform that you're familiar with. It may be a platform that you're not familiar with. Some of it could be easy. It could be simple as taking something that you've got on eBay, copying those pictures and adding it to Etsy, or taking something on Etsy, copying those pictures and adding it to eBay. Do something really simple. Take those pictures, take that listing, and add it to Poshmark. If you've got a Poshmark listing and think, I haven't really done much with home, I can do that with my clean flow jacket now, thinking I've got a listing. Time for me to pop into Etsy tonight and throw that onto Etsy, because it's something that I don't really have to do that much work to do. I don't have to think about it. we all have profit piles of various kinds. Some of us have 1,000 or so patterns that may not be listed. Some of us have 12 boxes full of plush that may not be listed. That's me. And a hell of a lot more. Some of us have, oh God, may I say it? Yes, clothing that has not had photographs on. There we go. I've got another month that Rick is not going to touch the clothing. All because I mentioned it. But I tell you what I did this week. I actually took pictures of 5 clothing items, and I have 2 of them that I've listed on a vintage clothing page. I got interest in one of them already. I got one of them ready to go on Poshmark tonight. So I did clothing myself. I could not wait any longer for the good dog to be a good dog. So I'm doing it on my own. But adding that new platform in could be that simple. It could be just finding that Facebook group for it. Mm-hmm. We have that creepy doll. Everybody may remember the large boy that I've been asking Rick to box up for me for a month and a half now because he's our shipping guy. He's finally got to the point where it's getting ready to ship. It's probably going to go for about $400 or more.
Get a little baby coffin.
Oh God! No, but we've started it, and we're trying to debate as to whether we put it onto eBay or put it onto the Facebook group specifically for that doll. Even with the vintage clothing, I'm not even trying that vintage clothing yet on eBay. I'm trying that vintage clothing on I think there's a 29,000 person vintage fashion group on Facebook. So I'm like, why don't I try it here first? See if no fees. Like it. See if the price that I put things up doesn't get any kind of traction, and then maybe it can help me another way. So
and no fees.
Crossing those platforms. What you're about to say?
No fees.
And there's no fees unless you're using the US Facebook Marketplace way.
Yeah.
So here's your 10 tips to try and think about changing your price and checking Terapeak to see what it's going for right now. Sometimes that may mean more than you're getting right now as well. Adding free shipping or free returns, adding in a best offer, sending out an offer, promoting your listing, ending a listing and selling it similar, checking your item specifics or your tags on Etsy to see if they actually make any sense, or if you're missing things, or if you spell Darkwing Duck wrong. Those tags will not work. Checking your photos and titles, relisting ended items or theft that you had, or just adding that new platform in. So any of those things. And now, of course, we've got people saying, find a baby coffin. Thank you, discount.
Sorry.
Heather actually said she asked for info on something and someone offered to buy it. Yeah, I actually did the same thing. The item that I just put, the boy, I said, because he's dressed in his original clothing and it's very tight. And I thought, I don't know whether to remove the clothing because it looks like it's almost sewn on. So I asked in the group, hi there, should I take the clothing off the doll in order to sell it, or do you care? And the first response was, how much do you want? The next response was, I'm interested. And I'm like, that's not my question. My question is, what do I do? So I've had
I had that with an ashtray. I had an ashtray with a bunch of like a mother dog and babies. And I posted it in the thrifting board to ask, what kind of dog is this? And somebody bought it from me. Okay.
Lane had some, on some old Etsy listings too. So, maybe I'll hold on to it and list it halfway to Halloween. No, not if it's a $400 or $500 item. I want it to get out of here because I want to get rid of big stuff since we're moving.
We're already halfway to Halloween. That's what he's saying.
That's true. So in case you're still on here, we still got 40 people on here. Just as a reminder, this Thursday, we are going to be live again because it is our max sold clothing auction. So we do a live auction close. It's coming up Thursday night at 9 o'clock. This is a picture of our auction right here. This is our bid gallery right now. And we are thrilled to say that more than 48 hours before we actually start this auction, our bids are over $950.
What?
So before the auction is started, we are at $950. We have 175 items in the auction, and we still got like 30 that have $0 on them, but we have some amazing things in here. I'll show you a couple of them that just surprised the heck out of me. This particular print, which is a print that I bought very cheaply at a garage sale with Rick. It's I thought no one will want this. Literally in the first 5 hours, it went to $100. So it's already $114.
Wow.
I know. And our second highest item right now is this set of speakers that Rick and I have owned for nearly 30 years. We plugged them in once, and then
Those are awesome.
I knocked them over, the leg fell off, and we don't have any kind of, we don't use radio record speakers anymore. So they've been sitting around, and they are nice looking. They're teak.
Oh,
They're actually missing a little piece on them because they're supposed to have a gold piece down the side that goes down the edge of them. Wait a sec. Goes down the edge of the side here, and it's missing on one side. But we did say that in the listing itself. We're already at $56 on that. And our third highest item is this mermaid spring pole that I think we mentioned once before. This is this giant spring, 8-foot tall spring lamp that has these fabulous mermaid people on it. So this is actually 3 mermaids in a row, and that's it. It's a tri-light, but yes, that's the little mermaids holding the balls up at the very end. And I know
that's horrifying.
And it's at $41, and I know that because I said holding the balls up at one point, that Discounters is going to come back with something, or Carl is going to have felt it. Ellie said she loved those speakers for cat scratchers. Oh, there's people who'll be screaming about that. It is a cute print. Yes, very cute print. Love those speakers. Oh my God, that pic is up that high now. It's fab. Yes. So that is Thursday night at 9 o'clock. So we're going to be live at 9:15. The auction ends. So we'll have another fun little watch for an hour. If you are normally watching on Thursday nights from 8 until 9, if you watch Jason's show on the thrifting board, he is actually on his way to a 4-day binge of tikiing and record shopping. So there is no show on Thursday night. So if you want to watch us an hour later, please feel free to join us over there. And I got to shout a big shout out, number one, to everybody who joined us on the side here today. There's been great conversation going on with everybody. Thank you so much for being a part of our Tuesday Night Hall Pass. And a giant thank you to the half an hour beforehand. Lisa, will you come help me? And she said, sure. And she's given us some great information. So thank you again, Miss Winnipeg, for joining us here on Two Dogs Digs and helping us understand a platform that we're not the best on yet, but we're trying. We are trying.
I keep trying, pushing you along.
We will keep trying. So again, thanks everybody. Hopefully you learned a little bit of something. Hopefully you'll find those 5 things. And then next week, on the Tuesday next week, we're going to actually be doing either a thrift store throwdown, showdown, or a profit pile plundering with our co-host, Tony Boss from The Complete Reseller. That's where Becky's actually in too. Tony's going to co-host, and we're going to have 3 of the members from his group participate in this. We didn't have enough people in the Kennel Club who wanted to do it, so I threw it out to Tony, and he said, oh, he'd love to do as co-host with us and do that. So thank you for joining us. Hope you have a great Tuesday night. As I was going to say, is it the finale of Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist tonight? I think it's usually on Tuesdays, isn't it? It might be the finale of that. So we may have some stuff to watch, but we didn't watch a lot of stuff last night. So watch some TV too. Have some fun. Go and change a listing or 2, and let's see those sales kick through the roof. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
And thank you for the big bottle or big glass of wine.
There's still some left.
Good night, everyone.